to the holidays, I have to say my favorite dish is the stuffing. I love that mix of flavors and textures, and it makes a great leftover. Before I became a chef, I usually prepared the stuff that came in a box, but recently I picked it up and read the ingredient label. Hydrogenated oil, monosodium glutamate, preservatives, and what's this? High fructose corn syrup? What's that doing in here? So this year, I'm gonna skip the box stuff and I'm gonna be going into the kitchen and making my own from scratch. Come and join me and see how it's done. For the foundation in our stuffing, I went ahead and toasted my bread cubes. Now I'm using equal parts whole wheat and white, and I've toasted these in a really hot oven so they're super, super crispy. The reason why I want a crispy crouton is so that when you mix it with all the liquids, it doesn't fall apart during baking. So those are ready to go, and now I want to move on. Here I have my onion, my carrot, and my celery all ready to go. Hot pan over medium heat. Let's turn that up. Perfect. We're going to add a little bit of olive oil. There we go. Make sure you coat the pan well. And because this is a mushroom stuffing recipe, we're going to start off with our mushrooms. So here I have some crimini mushrooms all cut up. These are going to go directly in the pan. There we go. And now, I don't like mushrooms that are super soft and squishy. So what I want to do, watch how I do this. I'm going to coat my mushrooms with the oil, just like that, in the pan. And then I'm going to let them sit. And if you do this, you actually end up searing them as opposed to steaming them. If you have too many mushrooms in the pan, the mushrooms will want to release all the liquid, and then your mushrooms kind of end up soft and mushy. That's not my goal in this recipe. You can hear how the mushrooms are squeaking in the pan. That's good because it means they're not drowning in their own liquid. They're searing perfectly. Now, these are done. I'm going to take them off the heat and add a little sprinkle of salt, just like that, and a few grinds of pepper. Now, you may wonder why I don't add salt and pepper in the beginning. Well, if you add salt, it actually helps the mushrooms release liquid. And again, that's not what I wanted. I wanted my mushrooms to sear. So now that those are seasoned, those are going to go directly over my bread cubes. And look at all that fabulous stuff in the bottom of the pan. This is called suc, S-U-C. It's a French term, and it's all the sugars that have caramelized on the bottom of the pan. Now that equals great flavor, so we don't want to lose this. That's why I'm not going to wash the pan. Again, I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil. There we go. Coat the pan nicely. Just swirl it around. And now it's time to add the rest of our vegetables. So I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, because I like just a little bit of bite. And then the rest of our vegetables are going in. Perfect. Now, all we need to do is saute this, similar to the mushrooms, until they're starting to turn golden brown. I don't want to take them too far, because I don't want them to turn into mush while they cook. I wish you could smell it in here. It smells so good. You can see that my vegetables are nicely sauteed. I don't want to take them too far, but I want to get that brown stuff off the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to deglaze with about a cup of white wine. That's going to help me get all those flavors into the vegetables and give a fabulous flavor to the stuffing. If you don't want to use an alcohol like wine, go ahead and use chicken stock, or even water is totally fine. I'm going to let this reduce until almost all the liquid is evaporated, and then we're ready to move on. See how the liquid is nice and reduced? It's time to go ahead and add this to our stuffing mix. Now before I do it, I'm going to season with salt and pepper again, because I'm creating layers of flavor. There we go, just a little bit of pepper. Stir that around, and now this goes on top of our bread cubes. So pour that on top. Doesn't that look gorgeous? And see how nice and deglazed the pan got? That's perfect. That's exactly what we were looking for. Now, comes time for the herbs. So to this, I'm going to add some oregano, because I love the flavor of fresh oregano. Now, this is a mushroom and sage stuffing, so we want to add our sage. Now, sage is a really strong herb, so you don't want to put too much. I'm probably going to use about a quarter cup in here. There we go. Now, for the final step, I've got some chicken broth here. You can use vegetable, that's totally fine. To it, I'm going to add a couple of eggs. Now, You don't want to do this if you're going to stuff your turkey with this stuffing because the eggs may not cook all the way through. But if you're going to bake your stuffing, it's just fine. I'm using eggs as a binding agent. If you want to leave them out, you can certainly do that. I just think they add a really nice texture. I'm also using low sodium chicken broth because, again, I want to be able to control the salt and the pepper in my recipes. Perfect. So now this just goes on top of our vegetables. There we go. Just get that nice and mixed in. Now you can see there's still a little bit of liquid that doesn't get absorbed by the bread. Don't worry, that's going to absorb as it bakes. This is going to go directly into our oiled baking dish. I just sprayed it with a little bit of Nonstick cooking spray. There we go. Now this is going to go into the oven and you're going to cook it for 30 minutes with foil on top, and that's going to cook it all the way through. And then you're going to take the foil off and cook it for another 15 minutes so that that top gets nice and brown. All right, we're ready for the oven. Wow, I wish you could smell it in here. It smells so wonderful. Our stuffing is still nice and moist, but look at that beautiful crisp crust. This is something that everybody's going to enjoy, and it doesn't come from a box. I hope you'll join me in making whole foods for the holidays. Happy and healthy eating.